Listen, I'm hot. I need to go wash my face. I got to get ready for bed. This gossip game, feast or famine. Also, the true crime game. Over the weekend, I was just like going around trying to put together my lunchtime true crime things. And I was like, oh, what am I going to talk about in the morning? What am I going to talk about in the evening? There's not that much going on. And then boom, today, so much is happening. I don't even have time to cover it all. So some of this I'm going to have to save for tomorrow. So already I told you about Miss Shirley Strawberry. Child, the charges against her husband are not to be believed. We also need to talk about Wendy Williams because I could do another 25 minutes on Miss Wendy Williams. The tea is scalding. But then we got to talk about Rudy's mama, all kinds of new news on her, and the Melly trial is back. So look, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to squeeze, right now I'm going to do Wendy Williams. And then I'm going to squeeze in that other stuff later because I do have to do a little self-care. I need to meditate because all of this hyper energy, I got to calm it down so I can go to sleep. But look, let me just give you the latest on what's happening with Wendy. But first, a little background. If you look around, I'm going to have to try and find the video that I did before, like about 6-8 months ago on Wendy Williams, because the Wendy Williams situation is so much deeper than y'all even know. So much deeper. But here's the quick and dirty. Wendy was on radio for many, many, many years before she ever showed up on TV. Now, when she showed up on TV, oh, she was funny and she was sassy, just like she was on radio. Here's the difference between TV and radio. She cleaned herself up for TV, right? She was ruthless. People were terrified of her on the radio because she had 4 hours to talk and nobody could stop her and nobody could hold her back. And did she dish on people? Oh, yes, child. I lived for it. In addition, she told people's deep, dark, ugly secrets that they did not necessarily want out. She was outing people for their sexuality, just like all kinds of crazy things she used to do. And it was like, ooh, it made for excellent radio. But she frequently got fired from stations because she would mess up. She would make powerful people mad. She was getting suspended. All of her personal business came out. Her husband one time beat her up, allegedly, in the radio station. And there was a lawsuit about that child. The Wendy situation is deep and it is long. Ultimately, though, karma has shown up at Miss Wendy's house. So it is a lesson that we can all learn from. There are some spiritual paths that teach everything you put out comes back to you 3 times. So I'm like, let me just put out like peace and love and some funny ha-ha and some light because, child, I'm looking at Wendy now and I'm like, girl. So recently, Wendy Williams' son, Kevin Hunter, went on U.S. Weekly, U.S. Daily, some national magazine, right? Not like a People magazine, a little bit trashier, but like high circulation. Dogs, quit scratching at the door. These dogs are now here scratching at the door because I locked them out. Anyway, her son gave an interview because he wanted to clear his name and set the record straight. So, about a year ago, Wendy got put in one of those, Britney Spears conservatorships where it's easy. It's like the Roche Motel, easy to get in, but you're not getting out. Because they said, oh, Kevin is out here spending up all her money and she's a fragile person and people are taking advantage of her. And so Wells Fargo locked up all her money. And now there's 2 people who are not related to her who are controlling her money. There's a conservatorship and she has to say, excuse me, please, may I, before she can spend 1 dime. Now they're going to take care of her basic needs, her housing and food and clothes and things like that. Make sure she got a roof over her head. But for any extra thing, she has to go ask for permission. Can you imagine? She worked these 20, 30 years in media, slaving, never taking a day off. Wendy would sooner die than take a day off back in the day because she didn't want some cute little radio chick to come in and steal her job. So she's worked all these years. She's made all these millions of dollars. And now she has no control over it. Can you imagine being in your 50s and you basically have an allowance? You got to go ask for permission even though you're a multimillionaire. Child, that is not a good look. And let me be abundantly clear here. I feel terribly sorry for Wendy. What is happening to her is terrible. Also, what is happening to her might be teensy bit of karma. Remember that famous Whitney Houston interview when Whitney was high. Oh, Whitney was high, but it was a really good interview. And Wendy was smart about it. She got it all on tape so that Whitney couldn't say things to make Wendy have to stop recording. Child, Wendy Williams rode that Whitney Houston interview into all kinds of fame. She got white famous, right? Because before, just the people in New York knew her, or just the black people knew her. After that Whitney Houston interview, everybody knew Wendy Williams' name. She got all kinds of radio shows, VH1, books, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Well, the same thing that Wendy Williams was accusing Whitney Houston of being, now Wendy is. Kevin Hunter, Wendy Williams' son, has come out and said, my mother is a severe alcoholic, a very, very, very bad alcoholic, and she should never touch alcohol again because the way it doesn't process properly in her body, and it's causing her to have all these other health problems. That kind of puts some like ducks in a row and makes things make sense. Now, those of us who live in the New York tri-state who knew and were hearing about all the Wendy behind the scenes information, we had heard rumors for many years about Wendy being a battered spouse, Wendy being in a terrible relationship, her husband controlling everything. If you don't believe me, Google Nicole Spence and Wendy Williams and just start to reading because it is all there. Nicole Spence spilled the tea and Wendy and her ended up in a lawsuit. Child, it's a mess. So anyway, after the Nicole Spence saga years ago. Now, hey, Nicole, how you doing, girl? What you doing now? I heard you was a yoga teacher now. But anyway, because she got a very nice settlement from Mr. and Mrs. Wendy Williams. So, after the whole Nicole Spence saga and the Charlemagne saga and all the other sagas, Wendy went off. She did her TV show, but she kept drinking or using drugs or doing whatever. Kevin had his little boo thing on the side, and Wendy was like, you can have your little boo things on the side, though one thing your mistress cannot do is have a baby, especially since Wendy struggled so much to get pregnant. I can't even imagine, bless her heart. That sounds like a terrible situation. But when the little boo thing on the side got pregnant, Wendy was like, thank you and good night. And so she divorced Kevin, but without Kevin running her life, she hadn't run her life in 20 years. She was big before she met him, but she gave him all her power, and now Kevin is gone. But Kevin kept spending money like crazy. They got divorced, but it was a nice, quick, smooth divorce, and Kevin was nice and happy because he could be over there with his boo thing, and he was still getting that tall money from Wendy. Well, Wendy gets sick and Kevin has to go on and live off his own dime. Oh, guess what? His only source of income was the money that Wendy was giving him. So now Kevin Hunter has had to sell his house because he didn't read all the documentation all the way through, allegedly and for entertainment purposes only. And that the documentation said that if Wendy did not have another TV show or something earning her equal income, well, she didn't have to pay him. And so now she's not paying him. So he's like, I need surgery. I don't have money. Word on the street is that his little boo thing, after 16 years of being the side chick, took her baby and up and left. The side chick has started many, many businesses that all failed. And so now she's gone back to South Carolina with her mom and them, allegedly for entertainment purposes only. And Kevin had to sell his house. He had to sell his car. Kevin, you couldn't clip a coupon? Listen. Kev Hunter, everybody knows, loved a Ferrari, loved a fancy car, loved a Maybach, all this. Kevin, bruh, you need to do a Toyota. You see me over here? I'm driving Corollas and Camrys, and it's all, you know what they are? Paid for. You know what can't nobody do? Roll up here and take my car away because it's paid for. You know why? Because it cost me under $30,000, fully loaded. Child, that Maybach, for the cost of a Maybach, you can buy 7 fully loaded Toyotas. I'm just saying, brother, you should have clipped a coupon. But anyway, so now young Kevin Hunter is out here saying, look, they're saying I spent $100,000 on my mother's credit card and I was abusing her. In truth, yes, I did spend $100,000 on her credit card, but it was for medical expenses. It was to get her back and forth to doctor's appointments. And Kevin is out here spilling all the tea, saying I have had my mom's credit card for years, and she would never want me to do without things. But when the situation went down, honey, they locked up Kevin's credit card. They locked up all of his school money and everything else. I don't know if he's still in school. I don't know where this young man is living. I hope he gets himself together and got some student aid or whatever else you got to do, because his mother is basically out of commission. According to young Kevin, all the people up here in New York just want Wendy out here and having cocktails and doing whatever so she can keep working so they can keep making money off of her. Wendy, child, I'm lighting a candle for you. Now, we know you're not getting your show back, right? Because Miss Sherry Shepherd is over there doing a doggone thing. Hey, Sherry, listen. If you know me at all, if you follow this channel at all, you know me and Shirley, me and, oh Lord, I can't even think. Me and Sherry are good friends. I love Miss Sherry. Miss Sherry Shepherd is hilarious. She sat right here in this very old chair. She said, been in my house before. Anyway, me and Sherry is like this. We cool. But she's very, very busy. Being like a comedian and a talk show lady or whatever keeps her busy all the time. And good for her. She's a good person. That doesn't mean Wendy's a terrible person. I'm just saying that Sherry swooped on in there and is working her behind off, and she's doing the doggone thing with that show. Good for you, Sherry. Keep going, girl. We're going to have brunch if you ever take a day off, which seems unlikely. But now, Wendy got nothing but days off because she can't get herself together. Whoo, y'all, prayers to Judy Garland for Miss Miss Wendy, because Wendy, she in a rough kind of way. Honestly, she's in a Whitney Houston, Judy Garland rough kind of way, because once the alcohol starts messing with your mind and your body and your lymphedema and your everything else, I'm scared for Miss Wendy. Like, I don't want to see her have a Whitney Houston type ending, but I'm terrified that might happen. Serafina, Donna Serafina? Don't you wish she was like Beetlejuice? You just said Serafina, Donna Serafina, and she showed up, and then she could tell us what was going to happen. We don't know what's going to happen. But right now, Wendy is all messed up. It's unlikely to get better. Will she ever be able to get out of this financial conservatorship? Child, I do not know. What's happening to her is a crime, or is it karma? Because Wendy had no chill. She was no joke. She was light and cute and fluffy and funny. If you know her from TV, you don't know the Wendy that those of us in the New York area know. If you heard Wendy on radio, then you know what Wendy I'm talking about. And you just looking at this situation like, seems about right. Looks about like karma. But if you only know her from TV, you're like, oh, poor Wendy. I can't figure out what happened. Let me just let you know. Those of us who know, we know what happened. Nobody is surprised. So I'm gonna try and link my previous Wendy Williams video, and then that'll give you some more tea about the Nicole Spence and other Wendy related situations. What did I tell you about the one time I went to Wendy's house? Okay, child, that's another story for another day. That was her old house back in Livingston. She live in the city now and in Florida and whatever else. Anyway, I'm gonna go wash my face. I'm gonna get ready for bed and calm down and do my peace meditation. And then in the morning, we can cover Rudy's mama, and we can cover the Melly trial. Because, child, the Melly trial today, fire. They talked a lot about the little herbs. We'll cover it. We'll cover it in the morning. Y'all have a good night. Sleep tight. And I will see you soon. Bye.